Good morning. Happy Tuesday, snow day. Did you get a warning that there's going to be a foot of snow in your region? Did you receive any snow? Did you get a few inches? Well, some of us got it. Some of us would like to go to a much warmer climate. So if you are one of those people who are ready to travel, hit the road running, go to Florida, go to Jamaica, Bahamas, or somewhere warm, then pull up your chair, grab a cup of tea or coffee and your muffin, and let's get started. Today we're going to talk about safety abroad, Jamaica and the Bahamas advisories by the FBI about warning us, Americans traveling to these regions right now because there is so much going on. So what are we going to do? We're going to take a look at how to stay safe when traveling abroad. Sonia Gallion-Comanica here, SoniaGallion-Comanica.com, the author of 10 Things I Wish I Knew as a Single Parent, where we talk about all things single parents, finances, and keeping you safe. Pull up a chair. Let's get started. So when we talk about safety abroad, we're talking about some extremely popular areas to travel to. In these areas, most people are going to either the sandals resorts or places that are typically known for being safe. Jamaica and the Bahamas. I think the Real Housewives of New Jersey just recently filmed in Jamaica last year. But nevertheless, the times have changed, the economy has changed, and if there's a lot of poor people or people struggling, the risk to those who have is even greater. So you want to be extremely safe. I remember traveling to the Dominican Republic a few years ago, and at that time people were getting poisoned by drinks inside of the little mini refrigerator, and so you had to be super careful and you want to stay at the resorts. So many people are having dire straits, and when you travel abroad as American, you become a target. So you've got to keep that in mind when you're traveling. So today we're going to talk about 10 ways to stay safe when you're traveling abroad. So let's get started with number one. It's going to be some simple stuff that you really probably don't think about, and things that you can bring on a plane with you, because typically you're traveling to these countries via airplane. So keep a whistle with you at all times. Something so simple, but if you could just keep a whistle, that might deter some people who want to cause you harm. Blow it, use it, do whatever you have to do. Keep it around your neck. Recently, there were 2 women who were on a cruise ship who were sexually assaulted, raped, and sometimes maybe just as simple as a whistle could help. Not necessarily. I mean, obviously, if there's gangs of people coming after you, it's going to be very difficult to protect yourself. But if you could just maybe whistle, I would say that might help in the situation. And be very, very, very careful of your surroundings. Number 2, practice getting in and out of rope and handcuffs if you can do that as well. If somebody was going to tie you up, maybe practice in and out of them, tying yourself up, having somebody tie you up, and you try to get out of them. I know it sounds a little crazy, but sometimes when you're having situations like this, you got to practice crazy, especially if people look at kidnapping as an option. Let me tell you, I work in the insurance industry, and there is actually insurance for kidnapping. It is a big, I don't want to say business, but there's definitely a lot of money in it. And a lot of the wealthy have kidnapping insurance because that is just what people do. They want to come after you. They want to take you as a payday. So practice getting in and out of a rope, handcuffs, ways for people to bind you. See if you can get out of that and take care of yourself. As always, as I mentioned in all my videos, you definitely want to learn self-defense. If you can learn self-defense, it may help you in a situation. Obviously, everyone is not the John Wick, can't take on 5, 6, 10 people at once, but it can help you get out of a situation, at least get away, whether that's, somebody grabbing your hair, chokehold, something like that. Learn some level of self-defense if you can, number 3. Number 4, practice kicking while lying on your back. On your back, and practice kicking somebody. So if somebody's grabbing you, taking you, and pulling you down, maybe practice kicking them in the private area. For a woman, kicking the face, whatever. But you want to definitely be in defensive positions and learn offensive positions as well. So you're on the ground, you're on your back, and learn how to kick and get out of certain situations. This could help you. Not always, but just take as many of these tips as possible, and we'll see what happens. Number 5, do not go to a stranger's home alone. I mean, when you travel abroad, there are always people asking you to come take a tour, come take a visit, different things. That could prove to be very dangerous. So I would definitely recommend you don't go to a stranger's home alone. If you're going to someone's home and you have a bunch of friends, you all know this person or somebody else that knows them well, then of course it's a possibility, but definitely be careful. There are people looking to rob you, even people that you think you know. are willing to take advantage of you sometimes. So you got to be super, super extra careful about going to a stranger's home. Number 6, do not go on tours, regions you don't know. Stay at the resorts. There's a lot going on at the resorts. You don't have to go off away from the resorts. Stay there. If you know the region, like you're from the area and you know what to expect, that's totally different. But if you don't know the region, I would strongly recommend to maybe avoid a tour if you can. If you want to take a tour, it's, obviously they do tell you sometimes it's at your risk. When the resorts will tell you, if you go off somewhere without them, you're at risk. There's a lot of poor people, and when you have a lot of poor people, there's a lot of crime that comes with that as well. So be wary of tours. Number 7, try to stay in a group. There's so much protection many times in a group. More than you realize. Not always, but many times just staying with other people prevents you from getting into some harm's way. When I used to transport tourists from India and various countries, one of the things we do, always stay in a group. Stay together. Know where everybody is. It keeps you safe more often than you realize. Basic things that we just forget about, they can help you a lot of times when you're traveling abroad. Number 8, if I know going and traveling and drinking seems to be the thrill, but this is actually how a lot of people get into trouble. So if you can avoid alcoholic drinks, if possible, if you can avoid them, minimal, drink only a couple of drinks, because when you start drinking alcohol, either people can drug your drinks or all sorts of things can happen when you drink too much. So be wary of alcoholic drinks. Number 8, avoid alcoholic drinks if possible. And of course, it is always possible. Number 9, do not socialize with strangers alone. The same thing with going to people's homes. A lot of these things happen when you go off with somebody. I mean, nobody's really making a love connection the first day they meet, the first week they meet. It might be exciting. You might want to dance. You're on a cruise ship or something. You dance together. But going off and socializing at a stranger's home is just still, I don't want to, that's just something you don't want to do. That's absolutely crazy to do that. And you can get into a lot of harm. You think the person has good intentions, but not necessarily. They might be using you. I mean, there's trafficking. There's so many things that can happen when you go off with somebody you don't know. So do not socialize with strangers alone is number 9. And then number 10, if possible, carry some pepper spray or hand sanitizer or perfume in small quantities so that you can spray in someone's eyes. This is stuff you can bring with you on the plane. So if you can, bring this stuff with you, from pepper spray to hand sanitizer to perfume or small quantities of any sort of perfume spray, something you are allowed to bring on the plane that you can just take and throw it in someone's face to keep yourself safe. You have to always be prepared for these things. And I know it's not fun. It doesn't feel sexy. I've got to carry pepper spray and things like that. Pepper spray might be tough to bring on a plane, but if there's like a little sample, maybe on a keychain or something, you might be able to. Hand sanitizer should work as well. It's got alcohol, or small quantities of perfume might also help in the same way. So stay safety abroad, Jamaica and the Bahamas advisories. 10 ways to stay safe. Number 1, keep a whistle with you at all times. Practice getting in and out of rope or handcuffs on your own. Number 3, if you could learn some level of self-defense, it could be helpful. Number 4, practice kicking while lying on your back. Number 5, do not go to a stranger's home alone. Number 6, do not go on tours of regions you don't know. Stay at the resorts as much as possible. And number 7, try to stay in groups. You can do this. Number 8, if it's at all possible, and I know it's possible because I don't drink, avoid alcoholic drinks. This is what gets a lot of people into trouble. Number 9, do not socialize with strangers alone. And number 10, if possible, carry something, pepper spray, hand sanitizer, perfume in small quantities that you can toss in someone's eyes to keep yourself safe. Thank you again. Remember to subscribe, like the channel, Sonia Gallion-Comunica, SoniaGallionComunica.com, and the author of 10 Things I Wish I Knew as a Single Parent, where we talk about all things single parents. You have an amazing day.